You just translate documents all day, my sister Veronica said, swirling her wine dismissively. Anyone with Google Translate could do your job. The entire table laughed, Mom, Dad, Veronica's husband Blake, even my 16-year-old niece Addison, while my own daughter Maya stared at her plate in embarrassment. What none of them knew was that my boring translator job required top-secret security clearance, and that the phone buzzing in my pocket was a priority alpha alert from the Department of Defense. Dad's 65th birthday dinner was at Marchetti's, the upscale Italian restaurant where our family had celebrated milestones for 3 decades. White tablecloths, candlelight, a private room that cost more than my monthly car payment. Veronica had organized everything, naturally. She organized everything: charity galas, political fundraisers, her husband's Senate campaign. She was the successful daughter, the one who'd married power and wielded it like a weapon. I was just Natalie, the quiet one, the one who'd studied linguistics instead of law, the one who'd divorced young and raised a daughter alone, the one with the boring government job that nobody understood. Seriously, Nat, Veronica continued, when are you going to do something meaningful with your life? You're 43 years old. Maya's almost grown. What's your excuse? I like my work, I said quietly. Translating? For who, the DMV? Blake chuckled at his own joke. I mean, I'm sure someone needs their forms converted to Spanish, but is that really a career? It's more complicated than that. Is it, though? Mom tilted her head. I've always worried about you, Natalie. You had so much potential. You speak, 7 languages. And you use them to shuffle papers. 6 languages. And I don't shuffle papers. Then what exactly do you do? Veronica asked. Because every time I ask, you give some vague non-answer. Government contractor. Federal work. What does that even mean? My phone buzzed again. I glanced at the screen under the table. Priority Alpha. Immediate response required. Linguistic Asset NT7. Report for briefing. Escort en route to your location. My heart rate spiked. In 11 years with the agency, I'd only received 3 Priority Alpha calls. The last one had involved a hostage situation in Yemen. Natalie, are you even listening? Veronica snapped. I need to step outside for a moment. We're in the middle of Dad's birthday dinner. Whatever it is can wait. It really can't. I excused myself and walked to the restaurant's lobby. Through the front windows, I could see 2 black SUVs pulling into the parking lot. 3 men in suits emerged from the first vehicle. I recognized Colonel David Reeves immediately. We'd worked together during the Syria crisis. His presence meant this was serious. Ms. Hartley. He approached with the crisp efficiency of someone who didn't have time for pleasantries. We need you at the Pentagon within the hour. A situation has developed that requires your specific expertise. What kind of situation? Intercepted communications. Multiple languages, including 2 dialects we believe only 3 people in the country can accurately translate. You're one of them. The other 2? One is in the hospital. The other is compromised. You're it. I thought about Maya, sitting at that table listening to her aunt mock her mother. I thought about Dad's birthday cake that hadn't been served yet. I thought about the look on Veronica's face when she realized that Google Translate couldn't do what I did. I need to say goodbye to my family. You have 3 minutes. I walked back to the private dining room. Everyone looked up expectantly. I have to leave. Leave. Mom's voice was incredulous. It's your father's birthday. I know. I'm sorry. An emergency came up at work. Veronica rolled her eyes. What kind of emergency could a translator possibly have? Did someone misuse a semicolon? Something like that. The door to the private room opened. Colonel Reeves appeared, flanked by 2 armed escorts. Ms. Hartley, the vehicle is ready. Every head at the table swiveled. Blake's wine glass froze halfway to his mouth. Veronica's smug expression dissolved into confusion. Natalie, Dad's voice was uncertain. What's going on? I told you. Work emergency. But is that military? I'll explain later, Dad. Happy birthday. I love you. I kissed his cheek and turned to Maya. My daughter's eyes were wide, but not with embarrassment anymore. With something closer to awe. Maya, Aunt Veronica will drive you home. I'll call when I can. Mom, are you some kind of spy? I smiled. I'm a translator. Just like Aunt Veronica said. Colonel Reeves cleared his throat. Ma'am. Time. I walked out of the restaurant flanked by military escorts, leaving my family in stunned silence. The last thing I heard was Veronica's voice. What the hell just happened? The SUV ride to Andrews Air Force Base took 20 minutes. A military helicopter took another 40. By 9 p.m., I was in a secure briefing room 3 levels below the Pentagon, looking at intercepted communications that made my blood run cold. 4 hours ago, we intercepted a series of encrypted messages between cells in 3 countries, Colonel Reeves explained. The encryption was sophisticated, but our tech team broke it. The problem is the content. It's multilayered, Arabic, Farsi, and a regional dialect from the Afghanistan-Pakistan border that we've only encountered twice before. Waziri, I said, scanning the transcripts. But it's mixed with code phrases. They're using a linguistic cipher. Can you break it? I can try. For the next 6 hours, I worked. No dinner. No coffee breaks. Just me, the transcripts, and the weight of knowing that lives depended on getting this right. The cipher was elegant. They'd embedded numbers within specific word patterns, used verb conjugations to indicate dates, and employed a poetry structure from an obscure 13th century text to mask locations. It was the kind of linguistic puzzle that would take most analysts weeks. I solved it in 5 hours and 47 minutes. They're planning a coordinated attack. I told the assembled team at 3 a.m. 3 locations, simultaneous execution. The timeline is embedded in the verb tenses. They're using a poetic form that marks time through seasonal references. Based on the structure, we have approximately 31 hours. Can you identify the targets? Working on that. I pointed to a phrase in the transcript. This reference, it's from a Waziri folk song about places where eagles gather. In context, they're indicating buildings. High-rises. The specific verses they chose narrow it down to financial centers. How confident are you in this analysis? Confident enough to stake my career on it. Colonel Reeves nodded. Then we act. I stayed through the night, refining the analysis, answering questions, working with teams across 3 continents. By noon the next day, coordinated operations had disrupted all 3 cells. No attack materialized. No lives were lost. At 2 p.m., Colonel Reeves found me slumped in a chair, exhausted but wired. You did good work, Hartley. Exceptional work. Just doing my job. Your boring translator job, as I understand your family calls it. He smiled slightly. For what it's worth, the Secretary of Defense asked me to convey his personal thanks. The President has been briefed on your contribution. The President? This was a significant threat. Your analysis prevented what could have been catastrophic. I thought about Veronica's sneer. Mom's disappointment. Blake's jokes about the DMV. Can I go home now? Car's waiting. The drive back to suburban Virginia took 2 hours. It was nearly 5 p.m. when I walked through my front door. Maya was on the couch, having skipped school to wait for me. Mom, she launched herself at me. Are you okay? What happened? Aunt Veronica's been calling all day. She's freaking out. I'm fine, sweetheart. Just tired. Was it something dangerous? It was something important. I knew it. She pulled back, grinning. I always knew you weren't just a regular translator. The way you'd get calls at weird hours. The way you'd disappear sometimes without explaining. I figured it was something cool. You never said anything. Neither did you. I figured if you wanted me to know, you'd tell me. I hugged her tighter. My brilliant, perceptive daughter who'd spent years listening to her aunt's mockery without ever doubting her mother. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you more. The work I do is classified. I know. It's okay, Mom. I don't need details. I just need to know you're safe. I'm safe. The doorbell rang. Maya went to answer it and returned with an expression of barely contained amusement. It's Aunt Veronica. She looks upset. I took a breath. Let her in. Veronica swept into my living room like she owned it. Designer clothes, perfect makeup, the confidence of someone who'd never been told no. But today, something was different. Her eyes were uncertain. Her usual smirk was absent. Natalie. Thank God. She actually hugged me. First time in years. I've been calling all day. What happened last night? Who were those men? Are you in some kind of trouble? I'm not in trouble. Then what? Because I've been going crazy. Blake made some calls. He's on the Senate Armed Services Committee, and everyone he talked to just said classified and hung up. Classified. For a translator. Sit down, Veronica. She sat, which was remarkable in itself. I can't tell you everything. Most of what I do is compartmentalized. But I can tell you that I work for a federal agency that handles sensitive intelligence. My language skills are used to decode communications that impact national security. National security? Last night, I helped prevent a terrorist attack. I can't say more than that. Veronica's mouth opened. Closed. Opened again. You're serious. Completely. But you never said all these years. Because I couldn't. And because every time I tried to hint that my work was more than shuffling papers, you and Mom and everyone else talked over me. It was easier to let you believe what you wanted. We made fun of you. At Dad's birthday. In front of Maya. Yes. While you were about to go save lives or whatever. Something like that. Veronica was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was smaller than I'd ever heard it. I'm sorry. I know. I've been terrible to you. For years. I don't know what I thought. That because I married well and you struggled, that somehow made me better. You married a senator. I chose a different path. Neither one is better. They're just different. How can you be so calm about this? I've been awful. You're my sister. I've known who you are my whole life. I stopped expecting you to change a long time ago. I just hoped that someday you'd see me for who I am, not who you assumed I was. I see you now. Do you? She looked around my modest living room. The books in 6 languages on my shelves. The diplomas on the wall that she'd never bothered to read. The photos of Maya at various ages. A life she'd dismissed without ever examining. You have a PhD in linguistics, she said, noticing the frame for the first time. From Georgetown. I do. And you speak 6 languages. Fluently. I can read 2 more. And you work for, who exactly? I can't tell you that. But it's important. What you do. It matters. It matters to me. It matters to the people I help protect. Whether it matters to you is something you'll have to decide. Maya had been listening from the doorway. She stepped into the room. Mom saved lives last night, Aunt Veronica. Real lives. She does it all the time. Just because she doesn't brag about it like you brag about your galas doesn't mean it's not important. Maya, I started. No, Mom. I'm tired of watching them treat you like you're nothing. You're not nothing. You're a hero. You're my hero. Veronica's eyes filled with tears. Actual tears. I hadn't seen her cry since we were children. She's right, Veronica whispered. You are a hero. And I've been so blind. She stood, gathering herself with visible effort. I'm going to tell Mom and Dad. Not the classified parts, just that your work is important. That they should be proud of you. That we should all be proud. You don't have to. Yes. I do. It's 43 years overdue. She hugged me again, awkward, unpracticed, but genuine. I'm sorry, Natalie. For all of it. I know. Thank you. After she left, Maya and I sat on the couch together. That was intense, Maya said. That was family. Do you think she'll actually change? I think she'll try. Sometimes that's all you can ask for. Mom, I want to learn languages like you. I want to do something that matters. I pulled her close. You already matter, sweetheart. Everything else is just details. Outside, the sun was setting on an ordinary suburban street. Inside, a mother and daughter sat together in the quiet of a home that held more secrets than it showed. My sister had laughed at my boring translator job. The Pentagon had called mid-dinner. And somewhere, in a world that would never know my name, 3 attacks hadn't happened. 3 buildings still stood. 3 cities didn't mourn. Anyone with Google could translate. But not anyone could do what I did. And finally, my family was beginning to understand that.